Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining today's session, 6 Technology Trends for Data-Driven Supply Chain. Today's session will be hosted by IFS and our partner Azdan. My name's Leah Center. I'm the marketing head for Middle East and South Asia at IFS. I just want to give a few pointers before we start today's session. Throughout today's session, your mics will be on mute. However, you can use your GoToWebinar panel to pop any questions in throughout today's session, and we'll get to those in the Q&A session at the end. Also, today's session will be recorded, so we will be sharing this with you all after today's session. And with that, I will be handing over to our first speaker, Bishoy Sami, Managing Consultant at our partner, Azdan. Bishoy, over to you.
Thanks a lot, Leah. I hope you can hear my voice. My name is Bishoy Sami, and I'll be today with you with my colleague from IFS, Mustafa. Mustafa will do live demonstration for you about the IFS capabilities when it comes to the linking this with the trends for the supply chain. So I'll give you a brief about the IFS organizations. It's a global organization with more than 4,000 employees, with around more than 65 offices all over the world. We have more than 10,000 customers live with a very high customer satisfaction. We are actually increasing, I can call it our cloud expansion year over year. Last number, it was 2019 compared to 2018. We are increasing like 56% in the cloud revenue growth. IFS actually focusing on the main areas which is actually make the difference for IFS, which is we focus a lot on the customers. We are not doing everything, so there are specific industries that we are very much expert in, and we will demonstrate this. We focus a lot on the time to value and our products and our people that we are working with, to make sure our applications, it has a real value to your business. There is a recent study has been done by the market researchers, IDC, to measure the productivity for the teams. They are using IFS across different functions in the organizations, such as the field service team or supply chain team or accounting and auditing teams, for also sales teams, the productivity, finance, and also the team responsible about the capital assets. We can see a very significant improvements in the productivity, and this is also something that we are going to talk a lot about it today, how actually using the IFS applications will increase the productivity in your organizations. When we are talking about our industry experience, we believe, as I said, we cannot do everything. We are very much specialized in certain industry, aerospace and defense, energy, utilities, engineering, construction and infrastructure, manufacturing and services. And this is actually giving us not to be only a technology provider that's actually delivering a technology solution for you, but to be also a business experts that deliver value to your organization by properly understanding the cycles, the business cycles around your industry, giving advices about how you can apply the best practices related to those industry, how actually you can combine the business knowledge for our business people, experts in those industries, with the technology that we are offering that actually going to cover properly the business requirements that you have and deliver a lot of add-ons to your organizations. We have done a lot of big projects all over the world across our solutions that we are offering as a complete enterprise resource planning and also specializations for the enterprise asset management. I'm going to cover this as well in my presentation, and for the field service, which is we call it enterprise service management. All over the world, we have a lot of customers that you can explore on ifs.com. However, when we are talking about the Middle East, there are a focus a lot on the Middle East customers as well. We have done a lot of big projects with big organizations, as you see. As an example, I'll not be able to talk about all the customers, but I'll just highlight some of them for now, such as National Paints. Actually, we replace and consolidate multiple enterprise applications into IFS to efficiently run all the manufacturing and the distributions, and also implementing demand planning, supply chain, warehouse, collecting, finance, maintenance, CRM as well, projects, and also enabling the users to run the applications properly from the mobile for more than 400 users. When we are talking about Emirates, as an example, Emirates Airlines, Emirates, they developed a huge facility for overhaul. It's actually more than 90,000 square meters, which is actually make them the biggest, I can call it, facility responsible about very sophisticated engine overhaul for the airplanes. We have done there all the, I can call it, complex assembly for MRO features, which is actually responsible about the complete operations related to such kind of complex maintenance. We have done a lot of best practices related to the MRO processes, efficiency, managing, the entire, I can call it, cycles from A to Z. When we are talking about the Louvre in Abu Dhabi, this is also a very nice reference when we are talking about field service and how we are actually done all the activities related to the maintenance, related to the operations there. TAV, as an example, we have done also a complete facility management processes. When we are talking about the Rabia, again, it's a manufacturing projects. There are a lot of references that you can see on our slides. Also over here, as an example, the MTN, the largest, I can call it, telecommunication organization in South Africa. We have done Aliyaf. It's a manufacturing process. We have done again AGS. Again, it's a manufacturing complete cycle, using IFS applications. When it comes to Azdan, we are the partner for IFS in the Middle East. This is our focus, with more than 200 professional consultants responsible to deliver very specialized solutions and very specialized, I can call it, applications that's actually tackle your requirements from business perspective, from technology perspectives. We are operating currently in 11 countries, and as I said, with 100% focus on the Middle East region. Our services, it's not only implementing the technical solutions, but also covering the business advisory. As I said, we are expert in the industries that we are doing. So we are giving you advices about how actually you can build your applications and enterprise applications in a very advanced way that's actually prove value to your business and actually improve the productivity for your teams. We will cover today the specific trends that's actually deliver such value to your business. And we keep to say, when the roots are deep, there is no reason to feel the wind. So we are properly articulating your business processes, linking this properly to a system workflows, and being also responsible later on how to operate such type of applications. With this slide, I'll start with the trends related to the supply chain. The first one over here, which we would like to highlight, which is hyper automation. We know hyper automation, it's actually the use of the advanced technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, robotic process automations, and all of such type of automations. It's very much needed these days. We all realize we cannot rely always on humans to do the work. We need to have digital workers. Those digital workers can automate a lot of tasks for us, especially the repetitive tasks, especially the tasks that actually consume a lot of time from humans. We need humans to focus on the value added tasks, on the tasks that actually very complex, that requires special I can call it techniques or advanced thinking, and leave the other tasks for the machines to handle, for the robots, for the digital workers. Over here, we discover a lot of automation potential around the complete cycle that you are running in your business, for order to cash, inventory management, procure to pay, shipping process. We identified also a lot of skills such as knowledge and insights for the digital workers to start collecting the data, analyzing this data, and generate meaningful reports. So it can easily collect this data and build a very nice comparative reports, or generate specific KPIs or scorecards, or giving you some insights about the data itself, how it looks like. Such digital workers can also making visual recognition through the advanced OCR technologies. They can actually read the documents, extract the valuable information from the documents, and start documenting this. They keep learn by time, because with such type of automations, the digital workers can easily find something that we call it exceptions, and those exceptions, they need to invite humans, we call it human in a loop, to solve such type of take decisions for such type of exceptions. With this case, the robots can learn and they can adopt what should be the action happening when this exceptions happening. When it comes to the different invoices and the documents that we are receiving, digital workers can keep learn by time. So every time they are receiving a purchase order, or receiving invoice, or receiving any documents, they can start to identify what is this template. So if it's coming again from the same customer or vendor, automatically they will be able to recognize. When we are talking about problem solving, this is mainly the workflow engine that we are having into the application, that's giving the robots the ability to fix and to take decisions related to any problems they are facing. For the collaboration, we are actually connecting things together. We are connecting the people, we are connecting the processes and the technology together. And for the planning sequences as well, let me share with you a nice story that we have done recently with one of the largest delivery management companies in the United Arab Emirates. They have thousands of orders, delivery orders, receiving every day, and actually they need to allocate those orders to be a tasks for the drivers in order to make such delivery. So with artificial intelligence inside the application can take all of such type of orders, analyze all of them according to the customer relocations, the JVans, what is the package size, what is the type of the package, who is qualified for this one from the drivers, the capacity of the driver, the capacity of the fleet itself, and do a proper planning sequence automatically for thousands of orders. So all of such type of, I can call it hyper automation, when you bring it to your organizations, it will generate a very, I can call it meaningful improvements for the automations for your organization. So your ERP system, it's not anymore just a database saving the data and you call it whenever you need. No, but you are combining this with the proper digital workers, with the proper machine learning, with the proper artificial intelligence, that's actually enabling the proper automation for your organization. The second trend that I'd like to highlight today, which is actually how you can connect your field service to the supply chain. And with this one, we need to focus more on how we can increase the utilizations for our equipments, how we can improve our technician productivity, and how we can, let's call it, reduce the drive time through a very advanced route optimization processes. So all of such type of activities, it's actually optimize the way of executing our business and the way of allocating our resources. With such type of concepts, we do have a lot of practical applications for your organization, such as mobile field service, when you can use the mobile to enabling the field teams to do anything through locating parts, placing orders, provisioning quotations directly from their mobile application. When we are talking again about planning and scheduling optimizations, you can think about what is your business goals, what is the types of customer contracts that you have, what is the service level agreements. If you would like to run something that we call it what if analysis in order to analyze the business and see the impact on the customer. So all of such type of things can be done. Omnichannel, it's again very important component when we are talking about connecting the field service to the supply chain, because at the end we need a kind of a digital self-service that supports the orders, that supports requests, that supports the communications with your customers properly. When it comes to, again, handling all service requests and the tasks management, how actually we can connect our projects with our work management, with the task execution in the field service, how we can actually facilitate our management for such type of resources, requirements, and the capturing all such type data remotely without any kinds of, I can call it, lag or delay for connecting this data. For sure, collaborative web portal, when we are talking about I need to connect my customers with my partners, with my technicians, all of them to communicate with each other in a very effective and efficient manner. The third trend for today is the use of Internet of Things, IoT. We all agree that Internet of Things has been adopted a lot recently. We can see sensors everywhere. Those sensors could be associated with our fleets, could be associated with our shipments, could be associated with everywhere. But the point over here, which we need to highlight, how actually we can collect such type of valuable data into a hub. This hub actually will be responsible to do all kinds of analysis required to give us a very meaningful data for taking decisions and also speeding up what I can call it our shipping delivery, our production, our inventory management, how we can do a proper preventive maintenance, which is we have a sensor on the machine reading the I can call it all the statistics related to this machine, how we can actually benefit from such type of data into our organization. So it requires a proper technology and a proper way of connecting this technology to our, I can call it, dashboards, that's giving us the ability to take an actions. And in this case, my colleague Mustafa will try also to cover this in his demo, how actually IFS applications connecting those dots together, getting the data and read it such data from such sensors and give it to the business users in a very professional and efficient format to make decisions based on a proper understanding for the situation, the actual real situation for the data. When it comes to the chatbot, we all agree the chatbot has been increased a lot, the usage of it. Everyone is today would like to understand, ask about, okay, what is my utility bill balance? What is the details of this? So we keep increasing the utilizations for the chatbot, and actually as an organizations, how I can actually remove such type of headache from my call center, so I can easily enable the robots to handle such type of requests in terms of I need a support related to booking an order, or I need a support related to understanding or tracking my shipment, or answer any kinds of customer queries. So we can call it 24/7 assistance, and for sure this is around the clock. robots can or bots can do all of such type of support. When it comes to end-to-end support, so again, the complete supply chain chatbot can handle, we call it a very big range of tasks, such as paperwork, procurement, placing, purchasing, or processing payments, or even doing any kinds of tasks. And when it comes humans to be in interaction, they even can call the humans to be in a loop in order to take any decisions. For sure, real-time tracking in terms of giving you ability to have an visibility on the orders, giving a real-time status without any I can call it lagging for waiting or updates. Let me say that you need the call center to bring it. So all of such type of things, and it comes to the customer relationship, for sure we are reducing what I can call it waiting time. We are providing real-time information. We are providing a very enhanced, let me say, customer experience through a proper simple way of chatting, which is eliminates the use of a very complex applications that the user would like to use in order to get an update about any, I can call it, details with our organization in terms, as I said, tracking shipments or placing orders or whatever. So all of such type of conventional interface, it can also give us a very meaningful human like I can call it contextual conversation that's actually helping us with the automation of the cycle. For sure, every interactions our bots is doing related to this, it creates a very good learning curve for our bots and definitely improve the experience for our customers. The fifth component I'd like to share with you today, or a fifth trend for the supply chain, the analytics. We all realize the analytics and what's happening in the analytics when we are focusing more on the different types of analytics happening these days. So we need to answer very critical questions. And as an example, when we are talking about descriptive, so what's happening or has happened. When we are talking about diagnostic, why it's happening. When we are talking about predictive, so we need to know what will happen if this action taken. We need to have a kind of prescriptive, so what should be done next time in order to make this processes more effective. And at the end, we need to have also the component for the analytics, we call it cognitive, which is actually using the machine learning to describe what could or should be done. With a recent study has been done with from IDC as well. They realized like worldwide, the investments in the analytics and the big data has been grown to be to close to $200 billion, and this I can call it huge investments, giving the I can call it a huge importance for using the analytics in our supply chain, collecting the data, analyzing the data, taking decisions on the data. And this is definitely coming with a proper, I can call it access for our data. We call it like cloud-based, which is again, anywhere, anytime you can have such type of access. If you would like to do any kinds of, I can call it advanced visualizations or build something that we call it a storyboard to tell you and your team what's happening and why this has happened and how you can improve this in the future. So again, analytics when it comes to the supply chain, it's a very important trend. The last trend for today I'll share with you before handing over the presentation to my colleague Mustafa to take you through the live demonstration, which is the importance for planning and the profitability in the supply chain. We all agree one of the critical factors that actually increase the profitability in the organization is to understand properly the cost elements and how it calculates, understanding properly the dimensionality of our business, so where we are operating in terms of our locations, what type of products and services that we are delivering, what are the different cost elements that we are incurring, and how actually we can allocate such type of costs, especially when it comes to the common costs across the we call it the cost object that we deliver in terms of service or product. So all of such type of understanding and the deep analytics for our business, it's very important to drive our success in terms of, like as I said, like with a proper cost traceability matrix, with the proper allocations, with the proper planning for our activities, definitely generates any kinds of, I can call it, informative reports that's actually giving us a proper understanding for the profitability model that we have into our organization. Very important when it comes to the meaningful KPIs, understand the source of the information, analyzing properly the quality of the data that we are getting, tracing properly the rules that we are using for the allocations in order to come up with an accurate profit reports that actually generates profitability. I can call it by customer, by product, by shipment, by project, by location, by specific business dimensions that we would like to report our business based on it. With this trend, I'll leave the floor for my colleague Mustafa. So hand it over to you, Mustafa. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Bishoy. Those were really tremendous, fantastic slides and trends you were through. And once again, thank you very much for our attendees today, and hopefully you are enjoying this session so far. Here with no further ado, let's look at the state of art we are talking about here. So in the remaining, couple of 20 to 25 minutes, we'll be looking at few, things that are related to the trends Bishoy we're talking about. So the first trend, as you remember, it's something talking about hyper automation. Hyper automation is nothing but it's the backbone of any industry now. And if you would like to go to that hyper level, that's mean you need something helps you doing the proper planning. And if you would like to do a proper planning, that's mean you need an accurate data that comes from various different of places, do the manipulation of those data, and then visualize it in a proper way that helps you taking the decision in order to move to the hyper. So this is something in IFS we call it a lobby, and there is different set of lobbies related to each industry. And for as of now, I'm showing something called a planning center. And as you can see, there are some pictures in here which talks about the planning itself. And in the middle here, there's something about the KPIs or key performance indicators. And then there are some business areas that are related to the planning itself. So as you can see here, the whole idea is to give you a glance about how you are doing so far in terms of planning. And in order to achieve, at least those red numbers, as you can see here, so planned versus actual, as you can see here as an example, it's it's going 7, whereas our target should be 5. That's mean we might be having an issue in the supply chain, or maybe we are having an issue in human resources, or might be having an issue in warehousing, or might be we are having an issue in reading the data from the machines. If you are in the manufacturing, there might be an issue in doing the overhaul hours if you are doing an overhaul or repair for your heavy maintenance. So basically these are interactive boards, and if I click on, for example, inventory part management, as you can see here, which is part of the planning, it will take me to something related to my parts, how the parts are getting managed in my organization so far. I will be able to see all the data that are available in my parts, which helps me doing the planning in order to achieve those automations Bishoy was talking about. Here is an overglance about the parts, the number of the parts, the revisions, the quantities, the cost, the transactions, and what is the frequently using the products family, and so on. And definitely these are a set of elements grouped together in order to give you an overview about your inventory part management. Definitely it might be linked to a store, it might be linked to an FSM if it's related to the field service management. If you are working in maintenance, it might be linked to the maintenance. If you are working in projects, it might be linked to projects. So as it brings all the parts that are available in the solution, put it in a single place, use those data, manipulate it, and comes with a KPIs, or shows you a visualization where you can take a decision in order to support you going to that hyper automation level. Going deeply, if I look at the inventory parts as of now, and as I said, if whenever you look at any point of view, the solution gives you basically a glance where you are standing now, what are the actions that you should take, or else what are the things that you are supposed to do. I'm sorry it's taking so long in here, but it's okay. This is due to my network. In fact, it's a bit slow since the morning. But as you can see here, the solution is basically built up for a such thing, whereas it helps you taking a decision can in each single area, which helps you taking any further steps in order to improve your business. This is, for example, the inventory central. As you can see here, there are some key indicators. As you can see here, I would like to take the inventory turnover, and here that's mean my organization is doing very well in turnover, whereas the receipt on time, I am below my target. So as I might be good in something and I might be bad in something else, whereas these numbers are related to some of the business areas that are available in here. So the solution has been built up to bring all the data, manipulate it, and visualize it as a visualization in order to help you support those automations. Bishoy mentioned something about the service. The service today's is a very hot topic, and each organization would like to deliver the best server ever in order to make their SLAs, to achieve their KPIs, in order to meet the customer satisfaction they are looking for. And for that as well, it will be linked either to a field work if you are providing a field service for your customers or your contractors or whoever, or you might be doing those services internally if you have a subgroup of companies, and those part of the company is doing the maintenance itself, or the service, or providing a service internally as well. So as you can see, we have again the same concept it is. So there is a lobby, which is basically an interactive dashboard used in order to give you a glance, a high-level glance on how the situation is going on, where you are heading to, and what are the challenges, where you are good at, where you need to be improved soon in order to avoid other things. Of course, these numbers, based on these numbers, the system can take further actions. For example, if for example, something that Bishoy clearly mentioned, which is the truffle cost. For example, here, if you have a service request in the middle of the desert, and you would like to know who is the nearest technician or the engineer or the person who would like to take the action, you would be able to save a lot of money. Plus, that will help the guy who is doing this, this job, seeing what's the requirement from that job, what is the available inventory, what are the equipments, what are the prerequisites that need to be done before executing a such service to the customer in order to meet the SLAs. The solution is completely, as Bishoy mentioned, it's from end to end. So from the service request, and then the solution will be checking what are the requirements for this request. Usually, if there is any shortage in any equipment or supply chain, the solution, either if it is giving the permission to provide a requisition, it will do so. Otherwise, it will alert the users to initiate any requisitions that are required. No further use. Internet of Things is the best thing ever now is going on. It makes our life easier, smoother, accurate, and it makes really our life more comfortable to be living in. In IFS, we do believe that is something we need, we are looking at, in fact, and we are working on connecting to any IoT connectors. Basically, as of now, we can talk to different set of sensors, different set of devices, different set of solutions that are utilizing those devices, as you can see in the report in here. So this is basically just a report linked to certain set of devices, in fact, and it gives you a direct readings, how many has been received so far, how many errors I'm giving there. Is there any waiting for me to be reviewed? So sometimes the system will not take an action based on just itself. It might take a decision based on an historical data, or it might be taking an action based on a configuration that has been told the system to do so. There are something ignored, completed. As you can see, that's mean we are doing a great job in here. We have completed so many observations so far. And as you can see, there are so many observations that are unknown. We need to look at this, in fact, from where these are coming. And then if there are any false observations, you'll be able to see it in here. And definitely, this is linked to a different set of devices. As you can see, there are so many devices in here that are used in order to grab all those observations that I was talking about earlier on here. And as you can see, there is a graph. It will gives you, if you are linked, for example, if you are a manufacturer and you have different set of machines, each machine definitely will contain different set of sensors. One of them is to calculate the pieces, the throughput, the heat, for example, vibration, and so on. So these sensors are using different set of utilities, different set of tools, and different set of readings internally. How these data are getting manipulated to something that is readable and can be manipulated is something is done by the solution itself, and it gives you the final reading, and based on you will be able to take an action, or else you can allow the solution to take an action for you. For an example, if I have an observation that is a light bulb is not working, that's meaning there is no electricity going on that bulb, and the solution will be check, do we have such bulbs in the store? If not, the solution might alert you if you would like, or else it can place an order based on the requirement of that error that has been received through the sensor or the IoT connector. Another thing that mentioned by Bisho, which is really fantastic, and it is really very good in any solution now, which is the chatbots. Chatbots are really something good, and as you can see here, we have a chatbot building in the solution, and the chatbot can helps you literally doing everything in the solution itself. So you'll be able to ask him, do this for me, what are the approvals that I am looking for. You will be able to see what is my schedules, what is going on in finance, where is my account balances, whatever it is. So the chatbots can be can be used for so many things that can make the life of the solution way easier, I would say, or else it can help you taking another decisions faster, easier, accurately, and more smoother. So as you can see, there are so many things this chatbot can be doing here. If I ask him what is my schedule on 1st of October, let's hope it can provide me an answer which it will do. So as you can see, it will fetch all the data from the required modules to that user himself. It gives you the exact data that you are looking for. So I'm asking my schedule on 1st of October, and here is my schedule. If I can view my schedule in here based on it, I will be able to plan the things that I am looking for, basically. Apart from that, if you are in the service, that's mean you might be in the middle of nowhere. If you are providing an oil and gas, or there is a factory in somewhere where the signal of the network is too bad, or it is too heavy to carry a laptop with you, and so on. So you might need a mobile app in order to help you, supports you doing and provide the service that you are committed with. In IFS, we have developed so many apps. Those apps are native apps, and some of them are working offline, some of them are working online based on the requirement. Definitely, as you can see here, there are so many solutions we have. One of them is the mobile work order. For example, if you are doing a maintenance, there is something called a Notify Me, which helps you getting notifications as well for approval, leave approvals, PO approvals, supply chain, any part of approvals, you can receive it. And there is something called the Scan It, which can be used in any warehouse, so as you can get the data of your inventory in any warehouse, easily just use the barcode and it will gives you all the data that are related to that task you are doing. CRM as well can be used as mobile app, so as your sales guys will not be carrying laptops with them, they can perform their tasks through mobile apps. And then something called the field service management. Quickly, let's look at how the apps looks like. I'm using here the mobile app in here, and I will be using my mouse here in order to show you how it looks like. So basically, as you can see, this is mobile work order. So if you will be able to see the work orders that are assigned to you, what are the work orders that to be prepared, if there is any new work you would like to perform or whatever, you will be able to see it. Here is something called my stock. If there is any stock that you are planning to receive or you are ordering or it is available somewhere else, you will be able to see it in here. So I have nothing in transit to come to me, and I have nothing direct. Of course, that if you are in the middle, as I said, in nowhere, and you are solving an issue and you are out of stock, you might receive a stock. It might be in a transit, you moving the equipments from one van to another, or from a store to another, or so on. So there are some other things that related to your stock, and these are the movements. If you look at my stock in here, it will gives you all the stock that is on hand now, and it gives you if it is out, if you don't have any quantity left, or there is a serial tracking or whatever properties that are related to that stock, it will be available, and it will be letting you know all the details that you need to know about your inventory, which means you are saving time, you are cutting costs, you are increasing your productivity, you are committing to your SLAs that you have provided with your customers, and definitely your customer satisfaction means extra revenue for you, and you are cutting your cost at the back. And so basically the mobile apps are really something very good, in fact, and it is something makes your life way better, I would say. And it's really something that you guys will be able to use day to day, and it is something makes everyone's life very easy, in fact. So this is one of the apps that we are using. If I look at the CRM app as well, so this is basically for the guys who are working on sales. So instead of carrying a laptop with them to know what are their current activities, what are the activities that they are doing, those apps are very native, and these apps are getting session wise, which makes sense because some of the data might be getting refreshed, so you need to synchronize with the data in order to get the latest data, or whatever updates are happening in the back end, you will be able to get that through the app itself. So as you are not doing something, and in reality there is something else. So if you are a CRM guy or you are a business guy, you will be able to see most of the things that are available in your current CRM solution. You will be able to perform all those things in just your mobile app without going back to the office or calling someone, whatever it is. So you'll have your CRM on your mobile app. Apart from that, there is something called mobile, we call it warehouse data collection, which is a solution that is linked to the warehouses, which is a hot topic in the supply chain. So warehouse data collection is nothing but it is a warehouses that are moving in your mobile. You will be able to perform more than 60 processes that are doing in a warehouse, like receiving, issuing, handling, shipping, scrubbing, whatever process you are doing in your warehouse, you will be able to do it through your mobile app itself. As I said, it's a native app, so it needs to be synced with your back office in order to get the latest data that you are talking about. So if I initialize this synchronization, definitely it will bring me all the transactions that had happened since I closed this app. So if if a new item has been removed, a new item has been issued, a new item has been moved, or any shipment received, any handling units get scrubbed or whatever, you will be able to perform it. I'm showing here 5 only processes, whereas as I said, there are 60 processes out of the shelf, but we are not limited ourselves to those 60 only. You will be able to perform even though if you have something that is not available out of the box, you will be able to configure that your own. Apart from that, as Bisho say, it's, if you are able to do a tracing, if you are able to do reporting, if you are able to see who does what when it has happened, why it had happened, what is the root cause of anything, that is something will help your organization definitely, making you taking an extra decisions on the right way, I would say. So for example, I'm having here a supply chain center. So we were talking about inventories and those niche areas in the supply chain or warehousing. Now this is your supply chain and how it looks like. So just I'll take 3 examples in here. So we are almost in the target in forecasting accuracy. So we are forecasting something and our accuracy is almost there, which means our supply chain is working perfectly, the tools, the parts, and everything is available in terms of in the supply chain itself. If you look at average profit margin, we are in a fantastic position. That means our profit is more 0.5% from our target that we are aiming to achieve. So whereas if you look at the perfect orders in here, that is something we need to look at, why we are below the average in terms of orders. This is something we need to look at, either receiving an orders or either a procurement order or a customer order. That's mean we have we are below our target. There is a cause for it. Is it from the planning part? Is it procurement part, or is it in the warehousing, or it is in the sale and distribution? So if you look at those 4, you will find them related to any KPI in here. So as we placed all the details, all the reports, all the things that are related to the supply chain in order to give you a glance about how the things are tailored to each other in order to bring you the latest data, and definitely based on, as I said, the authority that you are giving the solution. For example, the perfect order, if we are doing a customer order and we are manufacturers and we are out of the raw materials, the solution can make an order for the raw materials based on the lead time you are calculating for your suppliers. Maybe your suppliers taking 5 days or 6 days. The solution will make the arrangements automatically and will order the parts. If on the other hand, if you are providing an order to you request an internal requisition has been happening and you are out of materials, again the solution will ask you suppliers or customers in order to provide you all the required things in order to meet those SLAs that you are committed to your customers. Apart from that, if you look at the procurement central, how it looks like, what are my purchasements, how it looks like, what is the performance of my suppliers, what is the performance of my customers, what is the performance of my storekeepers, what is the performance of my delivery guys. So that is something related to the procurement itself. And again, as you can see here, it's like the same thing. So we are giving you a KPIs. This is where you are standing now. In cost saving, you are -1, whereas your target should be -5. But in BO change, you are in a good position. So as you are still in a good position, your target is 5% and you are 4, so you are almost there. So it gives you, as I said, the KPIs, and those KPIs are linked to a business areas itself. For example, if we look at the cost saving, maybe we are spending more in traveling or warehousing, or we are losing materials for obsolescence or whatever. My perfect order again is 81%, which doesn't look good for me. If you look at my quality preferences, it's 91, whereas my standards are 98. So there is something related to quality control. For example, this one might be linked to the quality control, and it might be linked to the supplier performance management. So how my suppliers are performing, what are the things that my supplier are doing. So is they are helping me achieving my KPIs, my SLAs. So in terms of reporting and in terms of who does what, how I'm supposed to do so, and what is the best thing that I'm gonna do will be visualized, and it will be arranged in a way that you would like to have it. In terms of reporting and analytics, IFS is extremely rich in reports. They are the system comes with a set of reports that are available, but again, we are not limiting ourselves to those out of books reports where those might be some extra requirements that are coming from somewhere else, in fact. So we have something called a business reporter in IFS, which is basically an Excel sheet looks like, and it's linked to our IFS as well. As you can see, I'm logging here as a CFO or Chief Financial Officer, and I'm showing here a report of variance reports which link to a consolidated group of companies. And I'm getting again, it's provided a nice way. You will be able to see what is your main revenue, what is your invoices, cost, and so on. So definitely this is a report, but you need to design it in order to see how this report will be reflecting the data here again. So as what happens is, you have the design here, and this, the design, those elements are linked to the solution. Once you click on run in here, it will bring all the data that are available, in the solution, in order to show you the latest, data that are available as of now. And herewith, I hope I have covered most of the trends that Bishoy mentioned. And from here, I will hand it over to Leah in order to see what is next in this webinar. Hand over to you, Leah.
Perfect. Thanks for that, Mustafa, and also Bishoy. So we'll go through a couple of questions that we received during your session. If anyone on the line has any more questions, please feel free to pop them in your GoToWebinar panel question box. It's not too late, so just let us know if you have any questions. Okay, so first question. This is to Bishoy. How long is the implementation time frame, and is there any prerequisites for this?
Okay, this is a very good question because time frame is always very critical for such decisions related to implementing such enterprise applications. Definitely, it depends on the scope of the work. When we are doing like a complete manufacturing process, as an example, it's completely different than just implementing, I can call it typical financial management as an example. But what we usually recommend is to have a proper, I can call it prioritization. And according to the prioritization for the organization, we can start the engagement by having quick wins. And to answer your question as a precise the answer, we can say in around, let's call it 12 weeks, I can have a defined quick win that we agreed with the management in order to achieve it as a, let's call it as a starting phase. But in general, the scope of the projects, we have done projects that's going to take end-to-end cycle in like, let's call it 5 to 6 months, more or less. But again, we do have the agile concept, which is again giving you the ability to have a quick one. In addition to this, when we are talking about the prerequisites in IFS, there is a proven implementation methodology that we are following, that's actually giving you as a customer from day one, even before starting the engagement, to know exactly what type of data that you need to provide as a prerequisites, giving you the ability for let's call it providing the data in a certain templates. In addition to this, as we mentioned during our presentations, we are leverage a lot the utilizations of the digital workers. So if you need to hire a digital worker as a let's call it software robot to do the data migration or reading the data from Excel and enter it directly to the system, or from your legacy system to the new one. So all of such type of techniques, it will be on the table to be discussed in order to help properly the conversion of the data. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thanks for that answer, Bishoy. I actually have another question for you, just a quick one. Whereabouts are you located, and do you offer on-site services?
Yes, this is definitely available. We have offices in the region, as I said, we have in Abu Dhabi, in Dubai, in Saudi Arabia. So we are here on site. Our consultants can provide whatever the support on site when needed, especially when we are talking about very I can call it highly like let's call it secured organization, which they cannot expose their data or giving any kinds of remote access, and totally understand this kind of requirements. And we are totally supporting, providing on-site support through our offices and local resources in the region.
Okay, great. And I have a question for Mustafa here. Can I connect any non-IFS applications to IFS, and can you give any examples?
Yes, Leah. In fact, in IFS, we say in solution, before jumping to IFS, in any solution, if it is not as scalable or extendable, that means it's not the right fit for any organization. In IFS, we can speak mostly to any solution around the world. We have more than 700 RESTful APIs we are using in IFS. So I would say we are mainly talking to most of the other solutions that are available in the market. Giving an example, yep, we are, as I guess showed you in a minute about the Excel sheet. That is an integration between Microsoft Excel to our solution. So that is basically, yes, an integration that we are doing. So we are speaking to Microsoft seamlessly, and we are considering that as a part of our solution. Another example is, if we come back to the trends, if you look at the IoTs, most of the machines that contains these, those sensors or those or whatever devices are located, they are using different set of solutions. Mostly they are using SCADA systems, and yes, we are talking to SCADA very easily. In fact, if you look at the surface and mobile surface, if you are using field surface management, it will be linked to a map. So yes, we are talking to easily GIS solutions that are providing maps and the geographic locations. So these are just a 3 sets of examples, but there is no limitation of IFS that can speak to any other solutions very easily.
Okay, great. And I actually have another question, I think probably for you, Mustafa. Can we define new KPIs within IFS as per our requirement?
So those KPIs you have seen here, it's hard coded, and when we say hard coded, that's mean we considered, for an example, my cost. I'm giving an example here. So we are calculating the cost and the revenue. So I'm spending something and I'm getting lesser than that. That's mean my cost is higher than my revenue. That's mean my KPI is red. Whereas in the vice versa, we are if your revenue is more than your cost, that's mean your cost is green and you are gaining extra money. Definitely, when I say cost, I'm not talking about spending money only. So that is spending of cash is one part, but there might be human resource utilization, machine utilization, time utilization, space utilization if you are in warehousing, and so on. So those elements will be combined, hard coded each other, and will be calculating the cost out of them, and will be calculating in terms of revenue. For an example, in talking about revenue, there is something, a cash flow that comes in through the banks. If you are a service provider, for example, and you are getting some revenue from your customers, plus there is a revenue if you instead of using 3 FTEs, I mean FTEs, full-time employees, for performing a task, you are using 1, and the other 3 or 4 are utilized for doing something else. So you are increasing your revenue here and your productivity of your solution. So that's basically how those elements are hard coded. If if you have your certain set of your KPIs and your measures that you are using in order to identify your KPIs, that is something can be done through the solution itself. That is something can be achievable through IFS.
Okay, perfect. So that is great. One more question. I think this was covered at the beginning by Bishoy, but just to go over it, and Mustafa, maybe you can cover this. So what are the best industries that fit IFS?
I would say that IFS fits most of the industries, or I would say the critical industries as of now. And when we say industries, we are, we say that in IFS we cannot be best in everything, so we are focusing in main 5 industries, which is aerospace and defense. So we are calculating end-to-end processes in aerospace and defense, and we are doing energy and utilities, where the oil and gas and all this kind of energy, things are coming under this pillar. And we are doing ECIs, engineering, construction, and infrastructure, where all the engineering and construction is coming under this pillar. Manufacturing we are doing, so anything in manufacturing, discrete manufacturing, repetitive manufacturing, food and beverage manufacturing, we are doing all these manufacturings. And lastly, we are service industry experts as well. So we are working in industries like utilities, oil and gas, distribution, energy, and so on, transmission and so on. So those are the things that we are focusing. So there are mainly 5 main industries that we are focusing in. If you ask me in education, I will never say yes. My answer is always no. If you come to the banking for an example, I will say no. When I say no, it's not because of the core functions, but for the core business of the customer. They are banking. I have nothing for banking. If you come to the education, it's the students, information system. So that's why where I say no, not to the solution, but to the core business of the customer himself.
Okay, great. And then we just have a 1 minute left, so there's one more question that I'm going to quickly ask. And obviously, if anyone else has any other questions, feel free to reach out to myself, Mustafa, or Bashoy after this webinar. But Bashoy, just the last question to you. We're running legacy systems and using a third-party portal that we don't have any control over. How do you connect and automate data flow within ERP?
Yes, Leia, this is again a good question, which is a very good case for digital workers to be enabled over there. We have the concept of a digital worker, which is again a software robot that can access such portals as a humans and get whatever the data, open IFS applications, go to specific screens and re-enter those data properly. So it helps a lot when it comes to like bank portal as an example, very applicable case over here. When any organization doing bank reconciliation and they would like to open the bank portal and to download the statements and to update the formats of the statements, uploading those balances into the ERP and start doing the reconciliation. So in this case, very much applicable when we are getting the exchange rates, when you are getting any kinds of accessing any portals. So digital workers, it's a very applicable case over here that really supports the proper automation for the business.
Okay, great. Okay, so I think that was a good final question. So I'll close the session now as we're at the top of the hour. Just let all of the attendees know, like I mentioned at the beginning, we have recorded the session, so we'll be sharing this with you. Keep your eyes peeled for future webinars with IFS and Azdan, as we do have a plan to have some more coming up in the near future. And feel free to reach out to us in the meantime. And just thank you to Mustafa and Bashoy for taking the time to run us through today's session. And thank you to everybody that took the time out today to join us. We hope you found the session informative. Have a great day ahead.